Hello everybody and welcome back to another Dark Avenger Comic Book review. On time for the second week in a row.
Yep.
Very happy about that. As we're recording this review, the indie review is being uploaded through our rendering program. As soon as that's done, this video will go through the rendering program. The indie review will absolutely be up by Monday morning. This will be up either Monday morning or Monday night, depending on if it's up or ready to be posted on Monday morning before I go to work. If not, like I said, once I come home, I will set it live on Monday night. But I'm very happy that our reviews are on time. This was the first step. Next is the descriptions, which I will be covering these. I know I said I was going to do it last week. Very busy week. Hopefully this week won't be so busy, but it's looking to be already. But if not, I will definitely catch up to the descriptions this week. If not, by 300, all the descriptions for all these videos will be up and ready to go. 300, we are going to have major announcements, so look forward to that. I've been stressing that in all the videos. I'm stressing it here, and I'll be doing it all the way through. This is episode 297. Only 3 more. Well, we should pick my favorite Sesame Street character. Anyway, there's only 3 short weeks until 300. Big announcements are going to be made, and guys, I'm not doing it all in one video. The announcements will be spread all throughout the weekend. And each announcement is going to get its own special video, and that's all I'm going to say. So obviously, you know, there are multiple announcements. You just don't know how many. And believe me, I do. We're already outlining the weekend. It's going to be big. But anyway, I don't want to waste too much time on this video. The books in this review were released on
July 8th, 2015, and there are a lot of books.
Yes, this is definitely going to be a longer review. Earth 2 Society, issue number 2. And I'm sorry, I really tried with issue 2. I didn't like issue 1. I felt it was very this one involved Sandman more and kind of showed more about what Terry Sloan was up to. I don't know, it just doesn't feel like the Earth 2 I read from Tom Taylor. It doesn't feel like the Earth 2 that we got before. I know that Earth was destroyed and oh well, too bad, you know, we're starting over again, but I don't feel this book. As much as I want to feel it, I do not feel this book, so there's so much that's going to be coming out, and there's so much that was announced this weekend at San Diego Comic-Con that's coming out in the fall, starting in October. And to be honest with you guys, I've always said, if, you know, books aren't holding me, you know, money we, you know, don't have a lot of. So I think that me and Earth 2 Society, for now, are going to be going our separate ways. I just don't feel the connection I did before, and
It's just not there.
It's not there. It's the feeling for this book is not there at all. The Batman ended up losing Terry Sloan. Sloan is working with Sato and Dobbs, and you find out why, because of what do you call it? They went back in time to show you what happened when they first came to the planet, and it's like I don't feel anything. Yeah, I just don't feel anything.
All right, Justice League United issue number 11. And I felt it's been like really a long time since I've.
It has been a long time. I don't think they made an issue last month.
No, I don't think so either, because we have a new Justice League United who are going to be joining, because the others went their separate ways, like Supergirl, Green Arrow, Manhunter, etc., etc. And there's just a powerful being that they're fighting. But first we get the people that they are going to join, like Swamp Thing, where Power Girl goes to see, and Swamp Thing says he feels like the green around him, and there's like bad stuff happening. And then we have Poison Ivy.
Oh, don't tell me she joins.
Well, she's connected to the green stuff and everything, so then they let her join, kinda. And then we get this other guy. Okay, can't remember.
Oh, don't tell me that's the Rot.
No.
Okay, good.
Like, he's escaping from the Curse of Kaboris, or something like that. And,
the artwork looks a bit rough.
The artwork does look that. And Equinox comes to save him. I just don't know what his name is. But, yeah.
Artwork
I do want to show some artwork.
The artwork is a bit rough, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just the team just getting together.
I thought Justice League United
Jason Blood.
ended.
That's his
name.
Okay.
I thought Justice League United was supposed to end, like it wasn't supposed to come back. I guess they changed their minds, because they did say that it was the last issue of Justice League United when it happened.
So in the middle of Lake Erie, where they are going on their mission, they have Jason Blood, Mera, who is the Queen of Atlantis, and Swamp Thing, along with Equinox, who is going to be their leader. And they just run into the demon Etrigan. who is
really?
Right here, yeah, the Demon Etrigan, and it's a lot of action packed, lots of fights. I don't want to give away what happened to one of the characters as fighting the demon, but yeah, it looks really bad for the team. And I really thought that this issue was very interesting.
The artwork definitely needs to work.
The artwork, yes, it does, but the story did hold me. If it wasn't for the story, I would have dropped it right there. But Justice United's going great, so looking forward to reading next issue.
Now, only for the first issue will I be covering this on the Big 2 review. If you want to see the continued review for this, I'm going to be moving it over to the indie review, and there's a specific reason for it. This book does not come out from DC Comics. It does have a DC character, but it's released by IDW because it's Star Trek Green Lantern. It's a 6-issue miniseries. I decided to do it here first because A, when I was setting up the books for the indie review, I figured because it was a short review, I was going to leave it short. And B, it is DC comic related, so I decided to throw it in for this review, and then if you guys are interested in hearing more, you'll come back to the indie review to check out the other 5 issues. This issue just sets the stage. Something is targeting a Guardian who has all of the rings, and the Guardian, in a last-ditch effort, disappears somewhere. They don't know where. And then you get introduced to another time, in another universe, Star Trek. So you see the Enterprise, they go to a planet, it's a rogue planet, showed up out of nowhere, they go to explore it, and they find the dead Guardian with the rings. They take the rings and the Guardian back to the Enterprise to scan it, to see what, who they are, if they could identify them and what the rings are. The rings go crazy. Now, I noticed there's no Black Lantern ring, so my suspicions are maybe Black Hand was chasing after.
Right?
White never. There's only one White Lantern, and Kyle disappeared. So, anyway, the rings start to, like, resonate, and I'm not going to spoil who, but let's just say 3 or, was it 4? 3 members of the Enterprise and Kang, or Chang, are chosen by certain rings.
Mm-hmm.
And they are basically given the rings. They become lanterns for those cores. And then, of course, at the very end of the book, Hal Jordan shows up in front of the Enterprise.
I knew that was coming.
Really, that was it. This was a very, very quick read. A lot of dialogue on certain pages.
But it has a good setting up point.
But yeah, very good setup. The artwork was really good too. It's the Star Trek team, however, it is to note, from the new movies, not Next Generation nor the first series of Star Trek either. This is the revamped Star Trek universe. It was an awesome setup. I can't wait to read issue 2. Again, issue 2 through 6 will be on the indie review, so look forward to those there. Also to note, through San Diego Comic-Con, it was announced that Batman is going to be crossing over with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles starting in November. So I will definitely be looking to review that and read that. So look forward to all of that, though, on the indie review. I will not be doing Batman and the Turtles on here. Those will be specifically for the indie review. So this is a one-time deal with the IDW DC.
Okay. Red Hood Arsenal, issue number 2. The Adventures of the Red Hood and Arsenal. So, in this beginning of the story, they get a call by a scientist who actually needs their help on a mission, so to say, as she's been doing research. So, she's like giving them an audition to do like something, you know, to get money, because Arsenal obviously spent money on some things that were foolishly spent, so they're trying to get more money in their game and stuff like that. So what they're doing is that they're trying to look for this person right here. I can't remember what his name is, but he's basically they're in Paris, like, let's just say. And I love how they do the video game reference, because Arsenal playing so many games and everything. That they're trying to face off against those armies, and she's actually watching them, you know, throughout the camera, and you know, there's a lot of talking, about how
Jason looks really off by this artist. I will say that
he does a little bit, but they're just trying to keep their A game, because there's just a lot of swarm of enemies that come there, and just fighting against them, and they actually catch the person who was behind all this demonic things, and they were looking for this the thumb drive, and the thumb drive was just for a cartoon. Because the mission was to find the thumb drive, and that's what it was. So now they get a note from someone who wants to meet Red Hood and Arsenal personally, and that'll be until the next issue. So that was really something. A thumb drive, all that, just to get a cartoon, which is hilarious. Like trying to get this book in here, hilarious. But yeah, it was a really good story. Thank you. Don't laugh at me. And then that was it.
Mike,
I'm good enough to go on the next issue.
You're not allowed to put books away anymore. That's it.
Yeah, I put books away.
Justice League of America, JLA, issue number 2. This was an interesting issue, to say the least. Interesting. Okay, Rao is now on Earth, and he basically just zaps Superman because he reaches out for Superman. They touch, and Superman gets knocked towards Earth. And he's basically there now. He came after Superman because he's the sole survivor of Krypton, and now he wants to bestow his godlike powers to help advance Earth. And he's using Superman to basically introduce him to the world, to the leaders, the presidents, and to have Superman basically preach that he's a god, he's good, yada yada, make me look good, son. So he does, stupidly, very openly, and that's what I find very weird about this book. And I understand Superman, at least this Superman right now, is different from the New 52. It is the New 52 Superman, but his personality kind of tries to resonate a little bit back to pre-New 52 Superman, where he's a little bit nicer. But he's very quick to believe in Rao. Everybody is actually, even Alfred believes that Rao wants to, bring peace to the world, and he can do it, and he can possibly do it. But I love how Batman is still trying to figure out a contingency plan in case Rao turns and ends up being the villain of the story. I love that about Batman. He's like, and Alfred's like, can't you hope for once? And he's like, where was it? It was somewhere over here. I want to see that. Oh, here we go. Not much room in my world for hope. Justice? Yes. Retribution? Yes. But not hope. Not for me. So Bruce is just trying to figure out a way, if anything happens, he'll be able to stop Rao, because obviously Superman is not strong enough to do it. He does a lot of really good deeds throughout this whole book. I don't want to spoil all of it, but he does a lot in this book. And he basically gets the world on his side. And then Superman, at the end of the book, this is why I don't like it so much, he's like, oh, that's right, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Flash are missing. Let me call my girlfriend. This has been going on for the past couple of days at least, or the past day or two. And just at the end of the book, he's like, oh, wait, I have to find out where my girlfriend is. And she's not answering. He's like, this is what really pissed me off. I pray, maybe this is a prayer for all of you. Raul will keep you safe. Was Superman brainwashed? Because I think he was. And then Wonder Woman wakes up. We don't know if it's in the, I don't know if it's in the future, in a different dimension, but she's in Olympus. But Olympus don't look so good. So, I don't know how I feel about the way they made Superman in this issue, but maybe he's just starstruck that the last god of Krypton is on Earth and begging him for forgiveness because he wasn't there when Krypton blew up. And he wants to make amends by trying to help Earth. I don't know. At least it went down to at least $3.99. So we'll see. We'll see where this book goes. I'm going to read the first story arc because it looks interesting. Let's see where the next issue goes.
Starfire issue number 2. They are now caught in the eye of the storm or hurricane that's actually happening, and you know, it's just Starfire. Who
the artwork is gorgeous.
Yeah, the artwork's like really nice. I do want to show more than just this artwork. You know, like she's just trying to get everyone to safety. Like she how do you call that? Evacuates everyone from the storm, and then we get you know, Gabe, who's trying to stop Soul from going out into the sea because there are two people who are stranded out there. So you know, he winds up telling Stella. Artwork's beautiful, by the way, and she goes out there to try to you know, save them. There is one guy who goes down the hole, and what comes out of it does not look too good. And I'm talking about this not too good. So there's a big demonic demon on the loose. It's funny how there's always monsters in some of these books I read, right? Mm-hmm. Like the Justice League United, now this one. That's crazy. So, and that's what this whole book's about. Just surviving the storm, and Starfire just, you know, saving each and every person from all of it, so nobody died, thank God for that. And that's it. So the ending, she saw a footprint that looked not so familiar, shape and size, and they're gonna look into it to find out what this or what thing left the footprint. Thank you for going in the cover. So really interesting issue, and this was my best DC book for this week, so definitely going to be picking up more Starfire.
Batman Superman 22. This is from the perspective, however, of Jim Gordon. It's not from the perspective of Superman. Jim does a lot of the internal dialogue in this book, and he's saying how much he doesn't trust Clark. You know, he tries to arrest Clark. It doesn't work because Clark had that device. He took it from the crime scene. And Superman's like, look, yesterday, mistake. Today, I want to propose a partnership so we can figure out what's going on and who's sending these monsters after me that are draining me of my powers before I can even get, you know, back to being super. I'm always normal. And Jim just doesn't want to be bothered with him. And as Superman's trying to explain, you know, this and this happened, none of this was my fault. He's like, nothing's ever your fault, huh, Kent? And he's like, look, given everything that's gone down, I have a hell of a lot less patience than I used to have. But I came here to make peace. That doesn't work. And then he basically says to Jim, look, let me put it this way. You're not losing me. I'm sticking to this because I want to figure out what's going on. So him and Batman go to Lucius Fox, who everybody treats Superman like a common criminal now, so it's kind of sickening in a way. But he has like this miniature sun that could power all of Gotham for a year. And then it turns out that we find out that a person comes back. For those of you that don't remember this story arc, it was in, I believe, Superman or Action Comics. The U-Corps from Subterranea. Superman basically saved I forgot, Baka from them because they were using eggs to power their underground city, and it was killing the children the things in the eggs. Of course, Batman doesn't know that, and again, Batman's like, another world you ruined, and there was a humongous fight. But then Superman said, look, you're here, obviously something's going on in Subterranea, let me help. If you could smell everything about me, you could tell I'm telling the truth, I want to help. And then just as he's about to say okay and you know, kind of give in to Superman and ask him for the help, Jim comes in and stabs him with the staff, and he threatens to come back and destroy the entire world. And that's where the argument between Batman and Superman happens. Jim reminds Superman he's not so super anymore, and then I love Clark's line, and you're sure as hell no Batman. And he disappears underground.
Wow.
There was a lot of other dialogue in here. I don't know. I'm not too keen on how the world is treating Superman right now but then again, it all fits into this main story that's going on. Obviously, Superman's depowered for this story arc, and for some reason, somebody has it out for Clark. Who is it? And after this story arc, will he go back to at least having his superpowers, or will the world somehow forget, or will there be a way for him to fake that he's not really Clark Kent and Clark Kent and Superman will be two different people again. I don't know. We don't even know how he got revealed yet, because that story is yet to be told in Superman. So I guess until that comes out, we won't know if we can unfake his uncovering, so to speak. I'm enjoying it for what it is. Now we're in Marvel, and I believe Michael has the first 2 books because he has 1 extra book than me this week.
Yes, so let's start off with Miss DeadPool and Howling Commandos issue number 2. And after reading this book, I am not going to come back for the next issue.
Really?
The issue was so boring. I was going to show some artwork. The issue was so boring. It only talked about Miss DeadPool with the Howling Commandos looking for Dracula. I mean, it's just them just walking around. They meet up with this some Grim Reaper-like person that wouldn't help them. And I mean, the artwork's good, don't get me wrong, but the story had less action from what I saw, and it was just ridiculous. They're just trying to look for Dracula, and they're doing so many things, and it was just so much to take in. No, I just cannot read more of this issue. And with a lot of books coming out...
Oh, yes. There were a lot of number 1s this week,
and it seems like every Deadpool title always does this to me. It just didn't...
Well, you still have Deadpool and his Super Secret War.
Well, let's see how that holds me up. That's all I'm
again.
It's moderate, but I'm going to wait for the next issue and see Squadron Sinister issue number 2. Next issue, like I said, will be the make or break. Because in this one, it was just all about Hyperion. That, they don't really trust him because of the way his orders are so violent all the time. Because everyone he sees, he just wants to kill him. The end. Like, no justice. So we get the Frightful Four with some good artwork.
Oh, God, I get with the Frightful Four.
Yeah, Titania, Wizard, Sandman, and Paste Pop Pete, who are trying to state a fact that what he's doing is just, not like a hero should do. So he says the Frightful Four is just a joke, and the whole Thor situation of who killed Thor, because remember the last issue there was someone who killed Thor? That's what they're trying to find out, who did it and whatnot. So it's just really all detective work that they're doing. And then we get Sergeant Fury's team who comes in, and, they're trying to do their own claiming their territory or something like that. There was just a lot to take in, along with some other killings that happen, because they're just not the type of people who, do that. So he's just saying, the guy with the bow and arrow, you're in charge of this province now, and just stay cooperative and stay alive because of all this to happen. And at the end, there's just a bunch of things that happens where Mark talks with what's her name? I can't remember what her name is. Like, basically, she's like, he's just saying, I have other plans for you without kicking you out, basically. Her name's right here, Warrior Woman. So, the next book is gonna be Make or Break. If it doesn't hold me next issue, I'm going to drop that as well.
Alright, Spider Island issue number 1. Here's the number 1. The weird thing is, though, the secondary story is Mayday Parker. The weird thing is, the story comes out of Spider-Verse. I'm surprised they didn't take Mayday Parker and put her backup story in Spider-Verse instead of Spider Island, because Mayday wasn't involved in Spider Island at all. She was heavily involved in Spider-Verse. So I don't know if it's just due to the timing. Maybe they needed more time to write the story. I was thinking that her backup story would fit a lot better in Spider-Verse right now. But anyway, that was a great story. The Spider-Girl story really sets up really nice. She's Spider-Woman now. She's wearing her dad's full costume instead of the Ben Reilly Spider-Man costume. She's still in mourning for her father, but at the same time she knows she still has her responsibilities. Ben is living there with them now. It referenced Spider-Verse, so I'm surprised it's in Spider Island. But it ends with everybody thinking that she killed Spider-Man and she's not the real Spider-Girl. And even her friend somehow gets brainwashed into believing that she's not Spider-Girl. To be continued there. Now on to the main attraction, Spider Island. So apparently the cure never happened, and Spider-Man died, and now Venom, along with the few Avengers that were not turned, are leading a resistance against the Queen to try to find a way to stop her and to basically save New York. Like I said, there was a flashback. There are a lot of survivors, but they're not going to continue to survive unless they stop the spiders. And all throughout the beginning of the book, you see that Flash has a plan in place that he's slowly making it. You know, he's slowly putting it together. Not Wolfman, what's his name? Jack Russell, who's Werewolf. He's a spider, but at night when he turns into a werewolf, he's out of the Queen's control because he's a werewolf. So, during the daytime, he is a spider drone, basically. During the night, he can break away free. But it turns out the Queen knew about this, and it all sets up for a trap. He does tell Venom that there might be a cure at Horizon Labs, and that's what sends them to Horizon Lab. And then we find out, spoiler alert, they knew it was a trap all along, that they were basically looking for a counter trap, and they figure out a way to get some of the converted Avengers unconverted, so to speak.
This looks like a weird issue, to be honest.
It was a very weird setup, but basically, to free the Avengers that were under the Queen's control, they had to change them. And obviously you couldn't change them back to humans because there's no cure, apparently. But there is something else they could change them into, and that's what Flash Thompson was alluding to throughout the beginning of this entire issue. Now, will the changed Avengers fight with the humans, or will they just become a new threat along with the spiders? To be continued. It was an average setup, I'll say that.
What time are we at? Just to see.
Well, you hold on to that. Give us just 5 seconds and we will be right back with the rest of the books from this week's comic review. Alright, we're back. Next number 1 is Age of Apocalypse. Number 1.
Age of Apocalypse, issue number 1 indeed. And what I like about this book, it has one of the X-Factor teams who was in here. I'm sure if you remember the person as Douglas, known as Cypher. He actually appears in this book, and the what's the name? I'm gonna remember. Holocaust wants to get Cypher because of like all the powers he has and stuff like that. So we have some artwork, which is good. And throughout this whole book, the X-Men are taking him, to keep him in, because you know how the X-Men are. And this is while Magneto, the X-Men, who come in. And we have Iceman, who kind of looks a little different, I would say. And Nightcrawler's his guardian, obviously, to Cypher. So, after the explosion, they go back to New Cairo, and then they try to get answers out of him about, why he's there, and like all this other stuff that happened. I mean, there's a lot of dialogue. If you want to find out, definitely read the book. But there are a lot of other teams who are looking for, Douglas. And we also have Wolverine and Magneto who are in this. And they're just saying, with Holocaust, saying, we want the boy. So it's now the X-Men attack and the Four Horsemen fight back. So, it's pretty good. I'll see how the next issue goes. I do like the whole concept of what they are doing, because I can see that. But, I'll see how the next issue goes.
Finally starting to see how the artwork is in Spider-Verse issue number 3. The artwork is starting to really lose its appeal to me, and I'm starting to see the sketchiness. And I guess that's because I'm reading a lot more of the Marvel series that are connected to Secret Wars. So I'm starting to see what a lot of other people are seeing with the artwork in Spider-Verse. So the Sinister Six versus the 6 Spider-Men and women. Yeah, let's just say, and I love how the Sinister Six, after they defeat all the spiders, minor spoiler there, they say that no matter what, they'll never be like him. They'll never equal the original Spider-Man. So they wake up in Osborn's place. He apologizes a million times. He tries to tell them the reason he has them there is he's trying to figure out about their web, so to speak, and how they got there and how to get them back to their proper places. Out of everybody, everybody believes him. Every spider believes in him except for Gwen. Gwen actually has a little bit of a meeting with everybody and says, okay, this is bad. He's psycho. Let's leave. Everybody disagrees with her, so in the end, she leaves by choice because Norman says you can leave if you want. And I don't like Spider-Ham too much here because he actually believes in Norman a bit more than any of the spiders. He actually was the one that called Norman, and Norman's the one that sent the Sinister Six because they were there, and Spider-Ham kind of gave him the heads up. She leaves, and she meets up with somebody at the end of the issue, which has me questioning if this part of Battle World is the same part as the Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, because let's just say a character in this book's wearing the same clothes that they're wearing in the Amazing Spider-Man book, so it raises the question. Just remember the clothes.
Okay.
It raises the question, is Spider-Verse taking place in the same universe as Amazing Spider-Man? Which I don't think it is because Regent isn't mentioned once, I believe,
it wouldn't make any sense, I
Spider-Verse.
don't think.
And I love how the Spider-Man Noir doesn't trust anybody, didn't trust anybody, wanted to work alone, and then out of nowhere he believes in Norman Osborn. He's like, I'm trying, and his excuse is I'm turning over a new leaf. Either he's a very good actor and still doesn't trust Norman, but he's staying there obviously to protect the other people, or he's trying to figure out what Norman's doing and he's gonna end up turning the turncoat, because it's obvious that at some point Norman Osborn's going to show his true colors, and that's when this book's going to get interesting. I just hope the artwork gets a little bit better.
Inferno issue number 3. The issue is strong and really great, this issue, that I felt when I read this. And it's just all about Colossus trying to save his sister Eliana, or however you say her name, along with Maddie's help from what we saw in last issue. And I like how Domino tries to calm down Colossus, like saying, you know, I know you don't trust her, but we have to trust her just a little bit. And the artwork's just beautiful. That I will definitely say that much. And we have Nightcrawler now, who is the dragon. So Maddie's trying to have a plan of how they can get to Ileana, or I don't know how you really say her name. And then we get Cyclops, Phoenix, Jean Grey, and the British guy who's going after them, along with Cyclops' reinforcements that come in. And yeah, it's just Colossus just trying to keep his cool, you know, thanks to Domino's aid and everything. And now in the end, we get a appearance from Mr. Sinister, who is going to play a part in the story as well. And I did leave out a lot of stuff because there is action in this, lots of action actually in this book, along with Colossus trying to use the Soul Sword for to try to save his sister. So it's really strong, and I'm definitely gonna come back for the next issue.
Civil War issue number 1. So how are they gonna pull this off? How did the Civil War keep going? Well, apparently something happened during the prison break. Maria Hill tells Iron Man it's Captain America's plan, and Black Panther says it's Iron Man's fault, that this was his contingency plan. So now both of them are blaming each other for the events that happened during the prison break, and several heroes actually do die as they escaped, and then they explain that the war continued, the villains rose for a bit but were taken down. And then in the end, basically, the sector of Battle World was split into 2. The Iron, which was led by Iron Man, and it followed the Superhero Registration Act. And then the... oh, what was this called? The Blue, which all heroes didn't have to register. They were free. People were free to do whatever they wanted. We got to see Stature here. Peter Parker, who was revealed obviously during Secret Wars, has a new role in this book. And you have one person, Miriam Sharp, who is looking to finally bring together Tony Stark and Steve Rogers after so many years. I believe it's been 6 years, to try to finally start talking peace. We find out Iron Man's dating She-Hulk. Mary Jane is in the Iron, and Tony Stark actually brings Mary Jane and Pete's daughter as kind of a show of good faith. So Pete's with MJ and his daughter while the talks are going on. Something happens,
Ooh.
and as Steve Rogers is the target of what happened, we find out, I'm going to spoil the picture here, that Pete actually is the new Falcon, so to speak. He doesn't sport as SpiderMan anymore. He's like the Falcon. Since his identity
maybe
is known.
that act would be by the Punisher or something.
And the talk of peace ends with Steve basically saying, the next time I see you, it'll be accepting your surrender. So the war continues, and Tony and Steve Rogers says basically, I'm done with this. Stark will never let this war end, so we'll end it for him. Here's the thing, though, that I like. There have been attempts to try to make peace, and every time somebody tries to interferes and prevents it. My wonder and the big mystery that's really going to keep me hooked to this series is who, at every twist and turn, is the person that has stifled peace talk for so long? Who's the person responsible for the Civil War not ending? Because somebody doesn't want there to be peace. Who is it? That's the big question mark. And there are so many possibilities. I love it. I love it. And they're playing Tony and Steve against each other beautifully. And I love... This is a perfect setup issue. I can't wait for the next issue. Was it the best? No, but it's a really good setup. I loved it. I can't wait. Cannot wait for the next issue. It's hooked me.
Battle World Master of Kung Fu, issue number 3. The search for Shang-Chi is basically what the I believe the Red Chambers are looking for, and I think they're Red Chambers. Oh, 13 Chambers. Oh, my mistake. So the Emperor is looking for Shang-Chi, who because he wants to just challenge, like he wants him to go through some challenges, and they think he's a murderer of a crime. Here's some artwork here, which is drawn really nice. Lots of heavy dialogue in this, and you know, it's just Lord, who is it? Oh, Lord Tuan, because they think that he killed Lord Tuan, and you know, obstacle by obstacle, he's just going through people like Namor he faces, and lots of other characters that might seem familiar, and you know, the Spirit Blades in this as well, and all this, he's just, you know, he goes through like hell and back with these people, and just saying, you know, I don't want my father's throne, and all this and that. And there's one last fight that he has to go up against. And I don't want to say...
No, I see who it is.
Uh-huh. You see a little bit of a thing going on there? That got me to say, wow.
Well, they're both from the same place, so I'm not surprised.
Don't give away hits, because then they'll know.
And apparently you have another one, because I guess these two were tied.
Well, yeah, the Battle World, actually. Runaways issue number 2. They're taking their final exam, and the thing is, will they come out alive, or will they not? And we find out in this issue that also Animus Cho actually helps out a lot in this issue, actually, of you know, how to cheat on the test rather than go through this. So they're in this like danger-like room, and they're fighting against these digital people, but what they find out in the end, that they weren't digital because, well, I'm going to spoil this. Pixie does die in this issue, which is like really sad thing actually in this, because Jubilee can't believe it. And You know, so they have to go because they found out that this school is just all about killing rather than training them to become regular heroes. So they're like saying, oh, let's just get out of the school, let's just run away with Cho's help to disable everyone. We have, I like how they have the indexes in here. How Ty, along with his sister Tanty, who he has to leave behind because she doesn't want to go ahead. She wants to, you know, stay there. Yeah, Tanty.
Tandy.
Or Tandy?
There's no other T, it's one T.
Alright, well, Tandy. Oh, I made a mistake. So then they're just going along, but Sana was left behind. And she's known not to be a team player. And there's no way of going back since the alarm was sounded and, you know, all that stuff. So this was really good.
Runaways is a very good series.
I'm really hooked. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen next, because that's a keeper right there.
Cover looks weird, though.
Yeah.
Alright, $20.99. Issue number 3, The Defenders have been introduced completely. We get to also see Submariner and Valkyrie, and they're dating, by the way, introduced here. And they end up stopping, what's his name? It's here, it's got to be here. Martin Hargood. As the Defenders and the Avengers are kind of arguing, he attacks them and runs off, but he's stopped by, like I said, Submariner and Valkyrie. And they basically form a team up after Hercules and Submariner have a bit of a fight because Hercules tries to swoon Valkyrie, but Valkyrie's already dating Submariner. So I love how Silver Surfer picks both of them up and basically tells them to apologize, and they say like no, and then he kind of uses more of his cosmic power and they both apologize. It's kind of hilarious. That fight continues through the book, and we do get a scene with the Hulk and Hercules, kind of like the Hulk and Thor in the first Avenger movie.
Oh yeah, like when he did the punch thing. Oh, that's classic right there.
Love it. So Captain America convinces them to go back to Alchemax with the Avengers to find out what this guy has going on, because they were sent to stop him also. And they get a little bit of information. Doctor Strange explains it to Miguel, and then he offers them a spot in Alchemax. What's her name? Doctor Strange kind of turns him down, but he says you can't because it's law. If you're if you're a superhero, you work for Alchemax. If not, then you're a supervillain. And he re-extends his hand again, and she says, we're leaving. And he says, no, they're not. And he basically takes out some of the Defenders. The rest run. So, looks like the Defenders are now enemies of the Avengers. And Miguel starts basically a war between the Defenders and Avengers because they don't want to join Alchemax. And if they didn't want to join, they were going to be taken in, whether they wanted to be part of the Avengers or Alchemax or not. So Miguel's not so good in this series.
Mm-mm. Wow.
Let's see. But apparently Miguel must know something, because it didn't look like he did that out of nowhere. And they were warned about the Defenders. So I don't know where this is going. Very interesting. We actually did get to see Miguel show off some of his spider powers with the jumping and the bite that paralyzes. But really not too much other than that. And we already interviewed Peter David at Special Edition New York Comic Con. He said we will not be seeing Miguel as Spider-Man in 2099. But he never said anything about no powers. He actually did say there will be certain aspects of Miguel's powers in there. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. But the war between the Defenders and Avengers have officially begun. And I think even Captain America was kind of taken by surprise.
1872, issue number 1.
Sorry about that, guys. Apparently the other camera decided to go good night. So, as I was saying again, 1872, number 1. I'm very surprised you like this, because the only reason I grabbed this issue at all was because the description sounded very interesting, and also the wolf on the cover helped the purchase. Yeah. So I'm very surprised that this is your number 1 pick.
It is actually, because you know, it starts off at the the Valley of Doom, And,
oh, they're bringing this character back also in the new, all different Marvel.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what his name was, but they do mention his name here. You know, the Indian guy. And Ben Urich is the reporter. We have Steve Rogers, who's the sheriff. And we have Stark, who of course just drinks, and we all know.
Oh, don't worry. As I was reading on the descriptions,
I think his
there will be an Iron Man.
I think his name's Redskin. And they want to execute him, and Steve Rogers saying, you know, what the hell you think you're doing? We should bring him to justice and talk to him and stuff like that.
Kingpin's in it.
Yeah, we have Kingpin who comes in, and he doesn't like how you know, he's doing his law, and there's just a bunch of other things where the Western people are causing trouble because of you know, the Redskin, and then there's just, you know, it's just Steve Rogers saying, oh, it's time, we just gotta shoot him, but because he's not like into killing, because they wanted to kill him, shooting him, and that's really just the whole basis of the book. Just Steve Rogers bringing people to justice, and, you know, Kingpin just, you know, not liking what he does. And we have an interesting character who's going to be the next one. And that's why I went, that's going to be something to look forward to. Right down the middle. Awesome. Definitely going to get the next issue to that one.
This book was good. Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows #2. Peter is having nightmares about his decision with Venom, which happened years ago now. It's been years later. His daughter now is exhibiting spider power, so he has an inhibitor on her, so Regent and his scanners can't find them. Both he and his daughter have to wear them because Regent is looking for superheroes or power beings in order to steal their powers or take their powers, kind of like what he did to the Avengers for himself. So, normal life, he's running off taking pictures of whatever's going on. Since there's no more Spider-Man, he has to follow news wherever it goes. You have the daughter who the mother begs, don't use your powers no matter what, just be normal. You get to see one of the superheroes fighting against Regent, even though Regent's done nothing but good for the city. He's like, he's evil, you know, he defeated the Avengers. All you are sheep to him, you got to do something. The Sinister Six, yes, there's a Sinister Six. Take him out, bring him to Regent. Not going to talk too much about that. Peter Parker gets paid for his pictures, but for them not to be published. And then it turns out that the school his daughter's in is being attacked by the Sinister Six because there is a child, they say at first, exhibiting powers. And Pete and his wife are thinking, and MJ are thinking, it's his daughter. So Spider-Man's apparently back because now he's got the hoodie on his head. Notice the clothes like I told you from.
Yeah, I remember.
And he's flying to the school, and it turns out it's not his daughter. Spoiler alert. Power Pack shows up in this issue. Apparently they were going to the same school as his daughter. He didn't care. He's back. He fought off the Sinister Six, and they got away. Regent now says, oh, so Spider-Man is still around. And it was, I'm sorry, it wasn't his Sinister Six. It was his, just his hired supervillains. Now he's sending his powered Sinister Six to find Spider-Man because it's obvious Spider-Man's back. And here we go with the origin of the black costume. MJ says, you need to come back, but you can't be red and blue. You need to work the shadows. You need to go back to the black costume.
But doesn't the black costume only work when he's infected by the symbiote?
No, he also made his own black costume after he got rid of the symbiote.
Oh.
So now that Pete's revealed that Spider-Man is still around, he's going to be working to fight against Regent once and for all. He says, you know, with our powers now, we have a great responsibility. He knows he made the mistake with Venom in the past. Now he realizes that putting Spider-Man on retirement was a mistake. And now he's going to go after Regent and stop him once and for all. I mean, there's somebody running a resistance against Regent, and I'm sure we'll find out who that is as the story continues. Left out a bunch of stuff on purpose. This was an excellent book. I'm loving it. It just sucks that when the all-new, all-different Marvel comes out, this Spider-Man, married to Mary Jane, will not be returning. We'll be getting Pete as SpiderMan, thank God, at least. But we're going to be going back to the One More Day scenario after pre or post One More Day. So it's unfortunate there, but I'm enjoying Amazing Spider-Man for what it's worth during Secret Wars. I'm really loving that he's back and he's in the black costume and he's going to take the fight finally after years to Regent.
Yep.
And with that, that's it for this review, guys. As always, don't forget to check out ComicFrontline.com, Zone4Podcast.com, and Frontline Gaming Zone. Together, we are your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. 300, 3 weeks away, August 1st and 2nd, starting on July 31st with Dark Avenger Live episode, whatever number we're at. Big announcements coming. Be there and have fun. We're going to have a lot of fun doing 300, and you guys, I hope, when the weekend is done, you'll be able to come away from 300 with something you're looking forward to from this channel.
Yep.
So until then, guys, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and we'll see you guys in the next review.
Later, everybody.